I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Rezero, Season 1, Episode 19. You don't know the Subaru. I know. God, last episode was so good. It was amazing. Doves appeared out of nowhere.
An episode, I'm always impressed when I'm given an episode that's so heavily just dialogue and that it's like not boring in the slightest. Like, I'm always impressed when that happens because you in theory would think like that's a bit much to have like 20. I think it was even like 26 minutes. I don't even think there was like an outro. Like I think that it continued through. So like 26 minutes of like a conversation.
Over the past week, I have been trying my hardest and I've yet to elicit the sort of reaction that caused birds to appear in any statements that I've made.
Nothing I've ever said that has made any birds do anything.
Yet.
I guess I'm not a fairy princess.
We're not. Like, it's just we need to have the sort of substance within ourselves that these characters do, and then maybe
I'm not deep enough as a person, I guess,
to make birds appear. Ready? Sweet. Okay. Interesting approach.
I think he's hopefully learned enough from his interactions with all the candidates about how to word things to them or what to offer them. Don't just be greedy.
I liked his approach there. It's like I give you this, you give me that. I give me watching this show, you give me Otto.
He probably thought she'd be safe with them and Betty.
Oh shit. God. God, I love him utilizing the information that he has.
How do we answer that question?
Interesting approach.
But they can also tell a liar.
Wind reading.
Wind blows around them. That's effective in handling affairs.
Did not expect this.
Because people can't transport goods.
Our mercenary team will help y'all. Whoa.
Your goal and my wish align.
Then let's defeat the white whale. God.
Choose to trust your eyes.
Yes. This is so satisfying.
I trust your eyes. That's satisfying.
Give you the media. This is so great for his character to see that this is the
He's, like,
kind of
lounging
thing that
back.
works.
Yeah.
It's like positive reinforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Was his wife the one that died?
Oh. Interesting that Krush's wife was taken by him, but that effect of like forgetting.
Wilhelm's wife?
Oh yeah, sorry. Wilhelm's wife was like that effect of forgetting who they are wasn't enacted. He's so cool. Whoa.
And that's how we get the shot from the opening of him and Rem?
Good color scheme. Oh, what a good boy.
Extreme pride. I could do it.
Whoa, Ricardo. Iron Fang.
I
love Krush's outfit, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You think I'm capable of sitting in a chair waiting for
great way to phrase it. Wow.
I never thought I would doubt it as much as I have.
I've always wanted to be thanked by a wise old man, and they put their like shoulders on, you know.
Hands on your shoulders, yeah.
I've never done anything to warrant it.
And
though.
These are all older. I feel like they were friends with
all the
Wilhelm's
history.
wife.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I love Wilhelm so much. Oh.
They're like so happy they get this chance. They're like relieved by it.
Krush looks like she's from Fire Emblem.
Honestly, she's Lucina right there.
Oh,
so angry that
passion.
He knows that feeling.
Chance to shed overdue tears.
This is like the closest that Subaru's ever been to people who have like similar emotions to him.
Hi. So scary.
Tend to be hasty, I believe it.
Usually give the orders.
Rigers.
Much more agile.
Good leader. It's a good line.
Great line. I mean, he knows the time. It wasn't a lie. Oh.
So no choice but to live for it. He's been unable to visit it?
Yes.
This is a big lead up. I'm a little worried. Like, is it actually gonna happen?
I know. I'm kind of in a similar boat. Interesting detail.
With the cell phone tone, like...
It's ominous.
It's so creepy. Oh my god. Little smile calling them fools.
Okay, that was Rezero Season 1, Episode 19.
I think that was maybe the most notes I've written in a little while.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, last episode it was very difficult to write notes because it was... Honestly, every line was like a banger.
The last episode, I wrote like 5 pages of notes. This episode, I only did like 1.5. What do you have written down?
Oh, goodness. So many things. I guess I could go in like order.
Okay.
Wind reading.
Oh, that's such an
really
interesting
love
topic.
This idea of like blessings in this universe.
Yeah.
That we know that other characters have blessings, like felt.
Yeah.
And I really like this idea that, of course, Krush is like a really great businesswoman, or it is really well established and respected as a candidate, to have like such a big almost army and following, and Wilhelm
seems to be a warrior.
Yes, and I really love that there is the ability to tell when someone's lying, but I really like this conversation that happens in this episode between given a blessing that could directly tell you that, and then what a character like Rem, who knows Subaru, could tell through if he's lying or not.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really interesting. Like, yeah, she has this power, but if you know the person so well, you wouldn't necessarily need that. And we also have that funny moment where she's like, this is the most I've ever doubted my blessing in the last like 2 days.
That was awesome. It was a really funny moment. And I liked like the idea that it's like, this wind blows for everyone, but I can see that wind.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that it was a really cool device. I wonder how one is given that blessing or obtains that blessing. Can it be learned or taught? Is it something that you're born with? you know?
Right. And does she need to be in a more of a sit down setting with them in order to notice it? Like, we do know that she kind of like went out of her way to have a sit down time with Subaru when he first kind of initially came to her manor.
Yeah.
So it's possible that there are like stipulations to this and like parameters. Like, she needs to be like facing them, they need to be in close quarters, something like that in order to notice it, or not a lot of distractions going on. That's all possible. I think it also makes me want to go back to their previous conversation about it, about wanting to kind of save Amelia a few episodes ago. And it makes me wonder what he was saying did the wind blow for? Did it at all? And he just didn't say the right words in order to, which is kind of the vibe she has at the end of this conversation. Like, I can tell you're not lying, but still, this is a big thing I'd be getting into.
Yeah, because we did have dialogue in regards to Krush addressing the fact that Subaru wasn't lying before, and that just went to anger Subaru further because he's like, well, you know I'm not lying, but you're not doing what I'm asking of you. And she's right in the sense of like, yeah, I have two separate ideas here. Me as a person and my emotions, but also like I'm in charge. I have responsibilities. I need to make sure I'm not making just the right decisions for you, but for my own camp.
The emotional. She also, obviously, this isn't just a hope and a wish for Subaru, who is not a part of her camp. We now know at the end of the episode that it is heavily emotional for people that are under her, like Wilhelm and that other group of soldiers that used to be on the front lines.
And I love the fact that he's able to bring this sense of closure to not only Wilhelm but all of these other people. Like, I just love the detail that there are people that Wilhelm has invited to this fight because he knows what that will do and mean for them because of his own personal experience with it. And you had a great like point in touching that Subaru has a bit that he can relate to that sense.
To the people that were in this room, once I saw the scene and saw that Subaru saw it, of someone being so, like, their fist was so tightly clenched that they were bleeding from their nails cutting into the palm of their hand, I was like, that's the amount of, and they were like crying.
Yep.
Like, that is the amount of emotionally charged situation that we're in that can so almost be sympathetic in terms of like Subaru's this is a group of people, and in that room was the closest you could get to a sympathetic environment to what Subaru has gone through.
Yep.
And his feelings and emotions and how hard he's tried and literally how much this means to him, that he would harm his own body, or in anger he would wail, he would cry, he would, clench his fists, and it was really nice for him to notice that. I liked that touch.
I think it's such an important detail to give in this world too, because I think that not only for Subaru's sake, but us as an audience, like, it's one of the reasons why I love him as a main character, because they don't let us forget that even though he's the main character of this anime, he's just another person in this world, because all of these people have their own stories and their own lives and tragedies that have happened to them. It makes me think of the line that Wilhelm initially told Subaru upon seeing him, and how he can see that Subaru has witnessed that death.
You know what? I think it's interesting to bring up main characters. I feel like when you call, like, in the real world, if you were to say that someone had main character energy, that's a total diss. Like, that they walk around their world as if they are the only person there, or they are the most important person, and their actions do not have reactions by anyone or consequences. And I think it's really interesting because if you think about like a main character in a universe like this, it's really, really compelling to be shown that like their actions have consequences on the world around them. Like, they are not the perfect, the highest, the literal most important person in this story. Like, I think that's always really compelling, to have a main character that has like really like difficult situations, lows, isn't, the shiny, perfect, everyone's actually looking up to them.
Well, it's the dissection of that. It's exactly what you're saying, because that whole main character energy, it is very easy to attribute that to Subaru in his pleads previously.
And his pride.
And
Which was
exactly,
a
right?
little nugget theme in this
With
episode.
the ground dragon.
And that's why it's so compelling, is because he's kind of like been both of those things. He's been both what we would call in this world, if we were like that person as main character energy. He's embodied that, but he's also embodied something different, and he's either starting to or has before, and sometimes he gets clouded by that, well, I was brought to this world and I have a power, you know, and that's him being emboldened and embodying that main character energy to a fault.
And to see him, man, it is so, like, because of the foundation that we have in regards to his character and how many attempts and different, like, ways we've tried to go about things, it is so satisfying to see him utilize the things that he is this episode. It is so cool. It's so rewarding.
This was a line at the end, but I just don't want it to be forgotten about.
Yeah.
Obviously in this whole episode we have Subaru learning from his last couple days, his last couple restarts, on how to handle his negotiations, how to speak to these people and what to offer them. And there's a line at the end of the episode that shows that he also is remembering and reflecting on other things that have happened before that, that show some really great growth in terms of his viewing and relationship with Amelia. And that is that he says a little subtle comment to Rem of, oh, I should say thank you instead of sorry.
I know.
And I don't want to forget about that. I don't want to not touch on that.
Yeah.
Because if anything, that shows to me, the viewer, that he is about to be, or is almost ready to have an actual good interaction with Amelia and to get to a good place with her again.
It's one of those things that in some types of media or anime, like they act like you as an audience member might not be as had the best memory, and they force a flashback. And I think this is a great example of them not forcing a flashback there, making the scene much better.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it is beautiful that line and that sentiment can stand on its own, but because it's been given to us by Amelia, that motive behind it makes the entire sequence so much stronger.
Over so many episodes now, we've been seeing a Subaru that is almost not understanding or forgetting about Amelia himself and like who she is, what she wants. She's like the one that you think that's actually an interesting parallel. She says to Subaru, the Amelia that you know or imagine is a different one than me. And then Subaru and Rem have a similar conversation about like the Subaru that he sees versus the Subaru that she sees.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting parallel. But it's like we've seen a Subaru that has completely forgotten or does not care to think about what a person and what people say that with their words is very telling, and you need to listen of how they want to be treated, how they feel, what they want. You can't just make up what they want for them.
Yeah.
Or try to force your own idea of what they should want onto them, or what feelings they should have onto them. And it just is so great because we've been seeing this from Subaru for what feels like forever, of him just completely skipping over what her actual words are saying and asking for, and just skipping right to whatever he wants to do in this situation, and not understanding her, and breaking promises that she has made with him or asked of him. And so just to have that line come back, as a viewer, I almost feel going into a battle too, like we're at a point of feeling uneasy because we're about to go into a battle, but it's also the most at ease I have felt in the last couple episodes.
I agree with you completely.
Which is
even
crazy,
more than the last couple
run
episodes.
into a battle and this be the most at ease I have felt recently.
It's a calming sense of like that I can relax a little bit because there is positive affirmations and results due to Subaru's behaviors and decisions, and that makes me like feel like I can breathe for a second. I can't I didn't expect, like, everything was how I expected it in terms of the negotiation, except giving Russell the phone. I did not expect that to be part of the equation, especially because theoretically there will be no purpose for the phone if the white whale is gone to Russell or any of those characters, which brings up another point I want to touch on. Technically, Subaru wasn't lying, right? Like, in terms of this thing will show me when and where the white whale will come up. It might have been a little bit of a white lie, but in a way it isn't lying, because from his knowledge, he knows where it will occur and he knows what time it will by using this phone. Like,
and he said, but even if you go like a little bit deeper, he had probably in his preparations already set the alarm on the phone before going into this meeting.
Yeah.
So when he says to Krush that this phone will tell me, that is a complete truth, because what'll the phone do? It's gonna ring.
Which, again, so we don't forget about it, the alarm going off with the entrance was so fucking unsettling.
It was so
creepy.
And then it got louder and the sounds of the show were quieted, and I was like, this is a lot.
I love the editing in this show. They do, especially like ending an episode, they always know how to end an episode in this series.
You know what it felt like a little bit? That feeling of like when you're still in a dream but your alarm's going off, and so you're being woken up from this dream that you're like really deep sleep in, and you're like, no.
Dude, because of how many things were going well, this show is preconditioning me to be scared of something going wrong. So for a little bit of time, I really thought the white whale might not have showed up, and I was so scared.
I honestly was in the same boat as you. That pause there, I was like, this is... It feels like a lifetime. It doesn't feel like just a couple second pause. This white whale is not going to show up. But why narratively would it not show up?
So,
so I was like,
I was already,
okay.
it got so bad for me that I was already theorizing why it wasn't showing up. I had come to the conclusion before the episode ended that the white whale wasn't going to show up, and the reason was because Otto wasn't there, and there's some secret importance with Otto that he was the reason the white whale showed up, and that obviously is not the case, because it did show up, and I'm so glad that it did.
See, I was trying to think not exactly why the white whale wouldn't have shown up. I was trying to think narratively why they would make a choice of the white whale not showing up.
Yeah.
Like, what would then be the aftermath of that is more like where my mind was like, there's no way the white whale's not going to show up, because I can't, in this split second thinking, think of a reason why the white whale narratively wouldn't show up here. Like, I feel like we've been through enough. And I think that Subaru's in a really good place. And as you've used the words positive affirmation, I feel like he needed some reassurance here and some positive affirmation for what he has done since last episode.
Yep.
He deserves it.
What else
he deserves the white whale. What else do I have written down? So he says, I have, if your goal and my wish align. To Krush in negotiation. Ooh, I really liked this one. She chooses to trust his eyes.
Yeah.
Which I really like, because Subaru's eyes are just like a common thing that we talk about being like scary, or how could someone love these eyes? How could someone trust these eyes?
It's just good language too, being used by Krush. It's poetic.
And they call him shrewd. But I really, really liked when we are looking at the ground dragons, and he finds one that he recognizes, and they have the line, I think Phyllis said the line, known for extreme pride. This one is known for extreme pride. So they're surprised that it acknowledges Subaru in such a, like, yes, pet me way, because it does not fit with a very prideful being to act like that.
I liked the interaction between the ground dragon and Rem. That was hilarious. It was like
that was really good. That was funny. I like some little comedy moments here and there. And they can use Rem for that now, because she's, I guess, been essentially rejected.
As well as Phyllis, though. Like, oh, you're pouting. Like, like I love it. It was so good. They're utilizing every character in the show so well. Speaking of characters in the show, we had a new one, Ricardo.
It's literally, Ricardo Iron Fang is my next note that I have.
He's an interesting character that I feel like just how we got a decent chunk of him this episode. He seems like a good leader, focused on morale. I feel like we're going to get a bit of him in the fight to come.
In the fight. I honestly am very excited to see the fighters of the Hoshin company, you know, Anastasia's
The
people,
siblings
the siblings, and we know that the brother, I think it was like Hetero and Mimi,
is like the
Hitaro,
planner.
yeah, and is the one that actually calls the shots, like
Yeah.
says the orders. I'm like, that is hysterical, and I can't wait to see this in action. I want to see what it's actually like. Apparently Mimi and Ricardo are like really hasty and like they just jump into things maybe they shouldn't. Honestly, which will probably fit them right in running alongside Subaru right now, as Krush was like, follow those fools. So
They're when we're watching episodes, sometimes I like a line a lot and I try to scribble it down as quick as
mhm.
possible. And if it's really good, I'll like upon the discussion, I'll rewrite it in like better handwriting. One of the best lines this episode was being given the chance to shed overdue tears. I
Oh,
adored that line.
I really like that line. I think that Krush is really great at speaking to the masses and
Hmm.
speaking to people that are about to go into battle. I think not only, as you said, does she look like a mix of like two different Fire Emblem characters put together that I can think of off the top of my head. She looks awesome, but
She might be
also
one of my
she
favorite characters design wise in this entire
I'm
show.
going to agree with that. There's something about Krush that's like hitting the nail on the head for me. I'm like, this is the character design for me. I'm a fan of this one. Thank you.
Yeah.
Green's my favorite color. Green hair. Thank you.
It's so hard to imagine that her first attempt at a design, like in like the developmental stages of this show or manga, it was really difficult for me to believe that she wasn't in armor in the first attempt at
I
being
could,
drawn.
yeah, I
It's like
agree with that.
it is perfect. Like I like everything, like the color, the detail, it all is like perfect.
Lucina, is that you?
Yeah.
The only Fire Emblem people would get it. So, or I guess Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another line that I think was before that one that I took the time to like try to write down as much as possible.
Yeah.
Uh, you think I'm capable of sitting in a chair and waiting for good news?
Oh, I love it. You know what's the best part of that isn't like the idea of her being like, "No, I'm a fighter, not somebody who's just willing to sit down." It's the fucking specific wording and tonage and implication
Like
like
I'm capable of doing that?
yeah,
Almost
like
like that's a
it's
diss
a
to even
diss. Yeah,
think that
yeah.
she.
Oh, that was so good. The dialogue is so good in this
But she's
show.
also like dedicated. It's not like, is she capable of sitting in a chair while she knows that people that she sent into battle could be dying? It's also like there's multi-layered to that comment. Like she can't just sit around while something's happening waiting for good news, just on the surface level as a leader, but also like if she's sending those people into battle,
Mhm.
like what type of morale is that she'd just be sitting at home not by their side like fighting with
Right
them?
when she said that, I imagined like a smash cut to Anastasia sitting in like a like comfy chair drinking tea. Uh,
Probably.
Rigers, more agile
Yes.
versions of ground beasts. Not
I like
versions,
that.
but so cool. And I like the idea of Ricardo being like the white whale isn't our only enemy here. We need to be dragging our own stuff. Like we're not forgetting about the inner political like workings and like contention in the world.
See, when he said that, my first thought was like, oh, well, you are fighting alongside another candidate and their people. And so for a second there, I was like, is he talking about not trusting, like actually giving trust to
Crucius
Krush?
people, but then it
But then they
diverted to
went further into explanation. I was like, oh, okay. But that
the
was my
cult.
first thought when he was saying that was like,
Yeah,
it's not like we're, and I was like,
bandits.
I believed it though at first when my first thought was he was talking about Krush.
Yeah.
I was like, that's believable. I understand that you wouldn't like fully, just because you enter a contract with someone, doesn't mean you like are gonna hand over all of your stuff and be naive and not like a little bit cautious.
Yeah. I think that along with Crucian design, one of my favorite characters by far is Wilhelm. I think his motive is really strong. I liked his reaction earlier in the episode to even hearing the name of the great the white whale like even appearing.
You like had this like power up moment.
Yeah, yeah. She never wished to wield a sword, but the sword loved her more than anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely adored it. I love that even though that she accepted that fate, he went out and tried to take that sword away from her, but it like it wouldn't leave her.
Yep.
It wouldn't allow her to do that. I absolutely loved it.
And he's been unable to go visit her and talk to her because of this, because he wasn't able to protect her and avenge her, and has been looking for the white whale. And it's another topic, is like Subaru didn't go into that negotiation knowing that the white whale was an emotional topic. Yeah. He thought it was just like this will get good praise for you across the public, because you'd be slaying something that has caused a lot of people a lot of grief.
But I love it because it's like, okay, not only are you getting what you want from approaching it in this type of way, Subaru, and that itself will motivate you to continue to do that, you can see the positive ramifications of these well thought out and concise thoughts being shown in everybody else. Like, you can see how this is positively affecting more than just your life. Like, if you're willing to act in this type of way.
Last episode like totally informed this episode. In dialogue, in Subaru's actions, the way that he handles these interactions. We get such a great thing that is, we have this character who can't tell people their truth. How do they get them to side with them? How does he not feel alone and lonely, and like he can never truly connect with anyone? Of course he's going to start isolating himself, as he had been. Yeah. And now we get him like actually like having people to team up with that are like, I get that you can't tell me everything. I get that, sometimes you lie and you can't tell me what the truth is. Like, I get that, but still, like, I'm gonna trust in you. I only have one more thing that I wanted to talk about, so if you have anything else.
Krush like touched on her sword like insignia. Yeah. I wonder if that's going to lead anything in the future. I thought it was an interesting detail.
I feel like someone wouldn't do that unless that sword had some emotional tie or reason. Maybe it was the sword of the master swordsman that was Wilhelm's wife. Because we get Wilhelm checking out some swords, Yeah. But it's possible that Wilhelm would have given her that sword. I could see him doing a thing like that, possibly, if that sword exists.
I also like,
or it's a family sword.
Troops follow those two fools.
Yes,
that was my
so good.
Thing. Yeah. What was your last thing?
You can tell the hero to awaken, but it's not that simple. It's not that easy.
Yeah, I like that. That was I find myself this episode appreciating Rem and Subaru's dialogue and understanding of each other. Like, I appreciate that development that this entire series has led to so much more after last episode. I feel like I understand them better.
Nothing's better than like friendship and care. Like, obviously I know that Rem has romantic feelings for Subaru, but when I get a really good like actually caring and loving a person for who they are, and being supportive of them, no matter what situation you're in terms of like unrequited love or anything like that, when it doesn't get in the way of actually seeing that person and caring for that person still, even if they don't reciprocate your feelings, like that is so compelling, and honestly makes me love Rem more. Like, that she's able to, he didn't love me back, but like that doesn't make me not want him to be happy.
Agreed.
Or care about him or want to support him or want to be around him. Like, he's also means a lot to me. He's very important to her. Yep.
If you told me 10 episodes ago this is where we'd be and these are the characters we'd be focusing on, I would be like, you're fucking crazy, and I'm so happy for that. I'm so glad. I don't know. I'm enjoying it a lot.
You thought it'd be Ram? No, I'm kidding.
I mean, I would have assumed that Ram, Roswell, and Amelia and Beatrice would be within the main cast
Betty
still.
At? Like, I think I agree with you mainly about Betty. I'm like,
I'm so glad that that's not the route we took. It like, they subverted the expectation to a certain degree, but it's also more important for Subaru's character development that isn't the case. It's so cool. Cool.
It's cool.
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 Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.